I think what happens whenever you offer something like stem mastering is the musician puts less effort into their mix down, and they assume that somebody else is going to sort it out. So whenever they come up to these barriers that everyone who's mixing music faces, they just think, oh, it's cool, somebody else will sort it out. And so they don't learn how to break down these barriers themselves. So I think it does the musician a disservice to have their music stem mastered.
Notice on your website it says it's not mixing, it is its own thing, because I heard it before and I kind of thought it sounds like cheating, really. What is it?
It's stem mastering is somewhere in the middle of mixing and mastering. So instead of me mixing 20 tracks for the musician, and instead of me mastering one stereo file, they'll send me maybe 4 audio files. So they'll send me all the drums together, all the synths together, and it usually results in, it sounds fine in the end, right? But I usually get worse quality of mixes or of audio if someone's stem mastering. I think that it influences people to put less effort into their music if they're going to pass it off to someone else afterwards. And I could do it for them, but it's their music and they're the artist and they are the one with the artistic vision, and they should be the one making the decisions, saying, I want my kick drum to sound boomy and I want my synths to sound shimmery. That should be up to them, because that's also really creative. And they should be investing in themselves as artists, and they should be working through their barriers on their own music and not just getting frustrated and saying someone else can do it. Because I could take the track, I could take the stems, and I could do something that I hope that they like. But that's my opinion, and it's not their opinion, and it means that they aren't learning themselves what they should be doing and putting into their mixes and stuff like that. And I think that it's not satisfying for the artist in the end. I think that.
Skeptical of it and confirmed skepticism.
Yeah, I think that actually I had this discussion with a guy recently, and he's been mastering with me for 2 years or something like that, and he said, "Do you think stem mastering would help me?" You'll probably say yes, because it means more money for you. And I was like, I do not think stem mastering will help you. I think it will hold you back, because you need to break down your barriers, because they're your barriers, and you need to break them down one by one, and you need to problem solve. And that horrible frustrated feeling when you close your project and you're like, oh, I just can't get that sounding right, and you work on it again and you're like, it sounds much better now, and then you've broken down a personal barrier, that's the payoff is worth the frustration. And it's I think it's super important as for your development as musicians to fight your challenges yourself, and to like learn, just tackle it. Don't be afraid of it. Do it in any way that you think is appropriate. And then mastering's more useful because it's a second opinion, and I am completely neutral to your song. So whenever I get your song, I can make critical decisions on it because I'm not emotionally invested in it. Stem mastering, though, it just doesn't. It just.
More amateurs asking you for that then.
It's not even bedroom producers. There's a lot of perhaps sort of lazy or maybe insecure professional musicians who also do the stem mastering thing. It's surprisingly rare that I'll get stems that sound absolutely incredible, but that also does happen. And when it does happen, then it's all worthwhile, because they're so on the ball that they want to do the best of their ability and get someone else's opinion. But I would say 80% of the time, the more the mentality is, oh, it's cool, somebody else will sort it out. And of course somebody else can sort it out, but not necessarily in a way that would sort of enrich the creative input of the artist, you know. So sure, it can help though if it's maybe somebody who's a bit new to the mixdown stuff and so on, and they're like, I want this to sound good, but I can't get it to sound good. Then it's great, because then you can help them with their problems a bit and get rid of some of the unnecessary stuff. But we all do this for ourselves. We make music for ourselves. We make music for our own personal development. So it's kind of like if you're always using loops and stuff like that, and like sample packs, and you're never really doing things yourself, if you're just like throwing loads of loops into a template and using, you know, just like the basic entry level stuff, and then you're paying somebody else to mix it for you and master it for you and stem master it for you, and then, you know, you're putting it out on SoundCloud and stuff, it's like, you know, you should pour more of yourself into the song. Like, I don't want to see how good you are at arranging like loops. I want to see your vulnerabilities as an artist. I want to see what do you bring, like what character do you inject into your song. That's what I want as a listener. I want to see your emotions and your feelings in it. I don't want to see like loops that you've had someone else mix and master, because then it's not really being true to your own artistic input. If that makes sense a bit.
That's pretty much what I think.
Yeah.
You know, stuff all the time from producers that sounds suspiciously good.
Yeah.
You realise it's because they haven't actually put any of it together themselves.
Yeah. And I've heard like really, really good songs that have been made with minimal effort too, and it's also if people like it, it's also valid. But it's like, I think the whole point in doing music is to develop your own personality with your music making, and watching yourself improve with your decisions and your abilities. That's amazing if you can look back on music that you've done a few years ago and think, holy shit, I'm so much better than I was then. And you can watch your own development with the tracks that you're doing and stuff. For me, that's a really rewarding process, and that's the whole point, is this self-development and this problem-solving kind of mentality.